I guess Tronox is the thing to get onto. Like as you said, that was a big draw card about why you've headed in country to Cameroon. They've named Minta as a potential feedstock. So I guess what's their involvement at the moment?
Both Lion Rock and Tronox have openly expressed mutual willingness and desire to further deepen our relationship. So how that will play out, time will tell as well. But I think there is a mutual understanding that we're going to talk to each other again.
This is general advice and my opinions only. This episode's company has paid me for this interview. I may be long, short, or hold an interest in stocks or CFDs mentioned. Past performance isn't reliable. The interviewee's views are their own, not necessarily mine. LEVRD operates as a corporate authorised representative 00131 8377 under AFSL 548573. You can find our financial services guide via the LEVRD website, link in the show notes.
Righto, bag holders and stop loss haters. Welcome to another episode. We're heading to Cameroon, brought to you by WA Waterbores, the go-to waterboard driller in WA. Not sure if he's heading to Cameroon. He can also do pastels for underground punters. So if anyone needs some pastels drilled by Jero James, get in touch with him and drop my name. Today, we have got LRM, Lion Rock Minerals. Got it on screen here. It's had a bit of a change up in the leadership, and I've got, you'd say, let's call him the brains behind the operation, Theuns de Bruyn. The brains in Cameroon, over there right now, and you can see the bloody thing in the background, mate. Let's get into it. Theuns, welcome to LEVRD, mate.
Thanks very much, Matt.
I want to hear you drop that to everyone. I am the brains behind the operation for this.
The brains behind the operation. Yes.
I've got it on screen with what we're dealing with here, and this is, don't let the size of this page influence your thoughts, because this area in Cameroon is pretty bloody large. But to set the precedence for the episode, Theuns, I want to know, is Minta, is it a rutile project that's going to have monazite credits, or is it a monazite project with rutile credits?
It's a very interesting question. I think when a year ago, everybody would have told you it's going to be a rutile project. And then they discovered the monazite. We're calling it now our Minta monazite and rutile project.
Okay.
We believe we have stacked a bit in drilling the monazite areas more for the last 2 months. And we will be making a ASX announcement next week on the first results of our monazite drilling. And therefore, we are calling it going forward the Minta monazite and rutile project.
Okay.
But time will tell, and watch the space, what's the grade and the quality of the monazite and xenotime that we're finding.
Okay, right. That's set a good precedence, mate. Right, now, you have come from, I'll bring it up on screen, this year you've cut, Lion Rock did a bit of a transformation and got the former Sierra Rutile leadership team, which is essentially yourself and Grant Scott as COO. So, mate, probably two questions about Sierra Rutile. Had a very animated history, you'd say, but there's two questions. I want to know, when you first went to Sierra Leone compared to first going to Cameroon for this project, I guess, what did you see? And then second, the learnings from the Sierra Rutile journey that are going to be applicable for the Minta project in Cameroon.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Let me answer the first question first. Is when I arrived in Sierra Leone in 2019, the operations and the company profile in country was in really bad shape. We simplified a lot of the processes and structures. And as I said, you don't need a Rolls Royce to drive in Africa. You need a Toyota Land Cruiser. You'll get farther, and it's more rugged to actually drive the cruiser in Africa. So for me, it took us, and this all sounds simple, but it took us 2 to 3 years to turn this organization around, change the culture, and started making profit. So the learnings that I'll bring across to Cameroon is stakeholder engagement. You cannot have enough stakeholder engagement. Bring the government, the local communities, NGOs, embassies along with the ride to you from the start. Second thing is the people. Get the right people in the right places with the right attitude. That makes a big difference. And the third one is to simplify as much as possible. The whole Rolls-Royce versus Land Cruiser again.
Yeah, you have to live in country too. I assume that's a big part of it.
Sorry, and then the biggest is you have to be in country. We're in Africa. The people want to see you. The people that you work for, the communities want to see you. If we go to exploration site, we will always stop at the chief first to say, we're in your area, we're going to drill, know that we are here. That is so important in Africa. You have to do that. I do it, Grant, even if Grant goes to sites with Godlove, our exploration manager, visit the chief every time you go to the area. It is so important.
Yeah, it sounds like Cameroon's one, I guess you're not rocking up to a producing site. So I assume you got a much better foundation this time. Like it sounds like you got a much better clean slate to work with than what you had to turn around in your previous venture.
Correct. Now, look, we're still in the exploration stage. We're early in. We're setting up the way we deal with the communities, with government, proactively. We've got better infrastructure in currently compared to the previous countries that I worked. We've got tar roads. We've got electricity running through most of our tenements, if not all of our tenements. We've got a hydro plant of 450 megawatt, 140 kilometers away from us. There's rail infrastructure to the north of us. We got Wi-Fi. I think the country is more organized than a lot of people would think. So you already start on a better footing.
Yeah. So I'd say it sounds like as we would say in Australia, Cameroon doesn't sound like anywhere near as a shithole as Sierra Leone. It sounds like you're in a much better jurisdiction.
It's a sensitive question, but I agree. I think we're on a substantially better jurisdiction.
Substantially better. We'll run with that's the politically correct version. Theuns, just don't fly back to Sierra Leone anytime soon.
Now I've guaranteed I can't go back to Sierra Leone.
No, good mate. That's given great context on that as a jurisdiction comparison. So after all that, I guess because you're living in country with Line Rock now, as you said, the most important part, I said, yourself and Grant have left Sierra Rutile for, to head to a 60 mil market cap company on the ASX, no resource, no reserve, to live in country. Big commitment. I guess what have you seen walking into Cameroon in your short stint so far compared to what you saw in the previous world?
Look, and maybe we start with the country. I think the operating environment in the country that I've experienced is practical and functional. They've got tar roads, well-maintained roads, call it that. At Minta, we've got a nearby working rail infrastructure. It's about 40 kilometers north of Minta. We've got electricity running through most of not all of our tenements, either next to it or close to it. We've got internet access. And I also think the country is more organized, connected, and capable of supporting mining development than many of the outside observers might think. Then why does this project is so special to us? There's I think 5 reasons, and maybe one is because me and Grant is here. We've got a really good team in country, and the people that we find here, the exploration manager, the lab manager, is really of good quality. So we've got good people in country with the right attitude that really wants to learn and wants to work. The other things about the project is the grade and the geometry. We've got ultra-high-grade rutile with zircon, ilmenite, and some of the area's gold credits. It's all near surface, and it's all free dig, no drill and blast. The second one, which is now the focus area, is the dual commodity province. It's ultra-high-grade rutile, as I said, with the rutile nuggets, and I'll explain that a bit later. And then we've got the rare earth and the monazite. And quite interesting, in the one sample they did take previously, they analyzed in a independent laboratory, the terbium, the dysprosium, which is the heavy rare earths, was more than 2%, which is quite unique. Then there's the scale of the project. The scale is we've got 8,800 square kilometers of tenement. That is massive. Of that, 6,600 square kilometers is rutile based, that we're focusing on rutile. And then 2,600 square kilometers is the monazite areas that we're going to focus on. So the land mass that we've got is massive. It's challenging as well, but it is really good. And I'll explain a bit later. And the map is also up behind me and on your screen. There's two distinct areas we're focusing on. One is the rutile area, which is the Boma, and we've announced that the Boma loam corridor that's here. And we're going to do some exploration drilling to see and prove that it's connected to Minta at the top. Then that corridor just becomes longer. And one of these blocks at the back end on your screen is about 480 square kilometers. So then there's 3 blocks in a row with a possible corridor. 2 of them have already connected, and then the third is possibly connecting. So that is almost 1,400 square kilometers just on the rutile, forming a corridor. Then we've got the monazite on the other side, and that's Minta Est, which is up there. And currently we're exploring, you can see that there on the top right of your screen, 300 square kilometers for monazite. And on top of that's Minta 4, and we still haven't started exploring that. We've stopped the exploration in the rainy season now for the next 2 months, and we're going to start exploring after the rainy season in those areas. Then the fourth reason is Tronox. We're still an exploration company, junior on the ASX, but we've got a strategic partner at approximately 5% already into the project, and they're very excited about the project. So for me, that is just a really good project, totally different from what we've seen in Sierra Rutile. It is, and the first question you asked, is it a monazite? Is it a rutile project? We think it's going to be our Minta monazite project with rutile, and we've got also the total rutile project. So it's actually 2 projects. It's 1 project, but 2 mining areas.
Yeah. Okay. Got you now. So, and I guess to like the draw card to come here from where you come from, I've got the latest Minta 1 results on screen here. So, and you know, a lot of punters probably, and we'll get into what rutile is and everything, but I assume there were some draw cards to get you over here. What were they? Is it the scale? Is it the in situ rutile grades? Is it the heavy mineral assemblage? Give us some context of what Minta's got compared to the likes of Sierra Rutile, to Sovereign's project and stuff like that around the globe.
Okay. So if I compare Minta to some of the Sierra Rutile I know well now, and Sovereign, and I read what's on the press, let's talk about Sierra Rutile first. They've got a good rutile mine with some zircon credits. They talk about they've got monazites, but when I was there, there's traces of monazite. So it's a pure rutile play. Sovereign is rutile, also starting to talk about the monazites, but not really anything in the ASXs yet on the quality they've mentioned, but nothing on the quantity. Whereas we've got, interesting is the high rutile in the HM. So the quality of our rutile is good in the HM. The in situ grades in some of the intercepts that we've got is really good as well. And remember, currently we've got on a drilling grid is a kilometer by 500 meters. So, and that's in the resource category still. Once we start proving it up, I think that numbers will increase. So HM is good, in situ rutile is good, but for me, the most attractive part is the monazites that we're getting and the quality in the monazites. And I know we've taken the 1 sample and assayed it, and we've got the 2% terbium and dysprosium, which is quite interesting because that's on the heavy rare earths. The light rare earths, the NdPr is about 20 to 22% as well, which is sort of what you get in the industry as well.
Yeah, very, very good. So, and just look at it. So this is the monazite drilling that you're referencing. So this come out on 20th of July. So this is the campaign that's underway. So these historical concentrates that I'm showing on screen here, what data is there already for the monazite side of things in Minta compared to the drilling that you're about to commence? Have Lion Rock done any monazite drilling to date?
You see so this is a reference to the ASX release. I think it was 15 June or 25 June 2025. That's when they discovered the monazite, and they've announced that to the market to say, we found monazite, these are the results, and we repeated those results in this press release. And it was grab samples and pan samples. The issue was, that was in June 25. The previous team decided, let's focus on the rutile. Yeah. And they continued drilling the Boma loam rutile deposits and to make that as big as possible. They didn't focus on the monazite going forward. So when we started, that's one of the decisions we took. We completed the drilling in Boma and loam just to prove up the corridor, to say it's connected Boma loam, and we'll need to go back to prove that the Minta one might be connected as well. But the focus from July was to go to Minta and drill the monazite as much as we can before the rainy season. So it is we changed direction a bit, but with good reason, and don't want to comment on the past too much, but going forward that's where we're going to focus. That's the size of the prize. That's what we need to understand. And as I said, the results will start coming out next week. And there's we've drilled for 2 or 3 months there. So there's 2 or 3 months results that'll come out till the end of the year, purely on the monazites.
And look, the market's pretty well aware that monazite is, that's the world of rare earths, the rare earth magnets, heavy rare earths, which you're reporting as well, do have a lot of value in them compared to the NdPrs. So results coming out for that next week, and we can expand on that a bit later. But for those who don't know about rutile, yes, it isn't the focus at the moment, but it appears that, a lot of work has been done in the southern part of your tenement area here that is, a significant landholding of rutile. What is rutile, Theuns? What is it? What is it used for?
So rutile is titanium dioxide, and in the natural form it comes in the earth. And there's 3 uses for rutile currently. The first use is titanium dioxide pigment, and that's the majority of the use for rutile. I guess rough numbers, about 80% goes into the pigment market, and that is the paints, the coatings, the plastics, the papers, everything that's got color in is pigment. Then the second portion of the rutile goes into welding product. So you get 2 types of rutile: standard grade rutile, which is the 80% that goes into the pigment, and then you get industrial grade rutile that goes into the welding market. Now, it's a special quality of rutile. Usually it's between Sierra Rutile, it was 10 to 15% of your rutile you can classify as IGR, industrial grade rutile. You sell it into the welding market, which is about 5 to 7%. And you get a premium for that product because it is a 20% premium because it's a really good quality rutile. Then the third one is it goes to titanium sponge that goes into titanium metal. A lot goes to Japan for that. That is the military vehicles, that is the airplanes, Boeings, Airbus, and that is all the hip replacement, knee replacement. That is the titanium metal that goes in there. So that's rutile. And again, coming back to the nuggets that we're finding in country. So if you put up a rutile plant, you produce a 95.5% titanium dioxide product. The rutile nuggets that we pick up in country, and I've got a rutile nugget here, which is, I would guess, 80 millimeters by 50 millimeters, which is quite unique in this country. It's literally lying on the ground in some areas. When we visit villages, to do exploration and see how the exploration is doing. The kids will come running with hands full of this rutile nugget showing to you. And that, the quality, we've tested it at 2 different laboratories, runs above 97.5% titanium dioxide, which is quite unique. And I've never seen that anywhere else in the world. And I've spoken to rutile specialists, and they haven't seen that either in the world.
The figures I've got is that world natural rutile production is about 450,000 tonnes a year, and against roughly 9 million tonnes a year of annual production of ilmenite. So natural rutile is, in comparison to ilmenite, is it worth more? Is it more scarce? Is it a lot more valuable than ilmenite? What's the differences?
Okay. The most of the pigment producers, so the pigment producers will buy. There's a few titanium units that you can buy. Ilmenite is the lowest grade, and it's the cheapest. And then if you go to places like RBM, they upgrade it to titanium slag. Some people will produce leucoxene. Then there's people with rotary kilns that will produce synthetic rutile. Then the next one level up is upgraded slag, and the highest form of titanium units you can buy is natural rutile, and that's at 95.5%. So if I look at the carbon footprint of all of these products, where each ilmenite is the lowest and natural rutile is the highest, it has got the smallest carbon footprint. I think going forward is, if you look at your carbon footprint and the environmental stuff, it is the better product to use. But unfortunately, where the world is currently, the titanium market is currently, is the pigment producers, and their setup for their plants is like that. They buy the cheapest titanium units that they can find. And you're right, the market for rutile is about the 450,000 tons. I think the market is supply constrained. I think really a rutile mine needs to come online to actually, to boost the supply, because all the supply, Sierra Rutile, base stopped, is running out, and the world is ready for another rutile mine to come online. Now, what I think makes us unique is because we've got the dual commodities, because we've got the monazite. So with our monazites, we've got rutile and zircon. So we've got, I think that is the trigger for the new rutile mine to come online, is you have to have rutile, but you have to have a lot of other credits. And the monazite and the rare earths that we've got is what will differentiate us and makes us, I think, a really good mine to come online, to supply the rutile market, but also the rare earth market.
So, and I guess with the supply demand side, I heard like sodium ion batteries, for instance, need titanium in them, which is going to make them expensive. Are there many emerging uses for titanium that could really, and take it into account that supply is coming off as well, that could really flick the scales in your favour for just the rutile part of the business, discounting the monazite?
Look, there's a lot of speculation in the market about AI and robots. They need titanium, they need this. I haven't bought totally into that yet. I think if I read some of the articles I've read, is the backlog on airplanes, Boeings and Airbuses. I think there's going to be a market for more titanium metal going forward. I think tighter legislation in the world on carbon footprints might force some of the pigment producers to go over to more pure titanium units than the ilmenites of the world. And I think that will assist the rutile market going forward. 2 years ago, I actually thought the market is going to turn. We're going to have a rutile mine. It's going to come online. And then all these wars broke out again. And then again, once these wars are over and the world comes to more stability, you'll have to rebuild those places that was in the war, and you have to repaint them. And I think that's when the rutile demand will definitely increase. And again, rutile is a commodity. It goes through ups and downs. and it's just been through a downs for a few years. So it will come back.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. The project, mate, if considering the pivot towards a monazite focus now compared to the rutile focus, all that, I guess, looking at that screen, all the drilling that has been completed in the rutile parts of the southern parts of your tenement, is there going to be a mineral resource that comes out of that? Like, is there going to be sort of any focus on this area now, or is everything heading northeast up into the monazite area?
It's a good question. So with the previous team as well, they did announce they want to do a mineral resource estimate by the end of this year. And I think they've delayed it a few times. And they didn't focus on the monazites. What we're going to focus on now going forward is the monazites. And the plan that we've got is we want to come out with a exploration target by the end of this year. And then we're still going to focus on the two areas that we've got. So in all probability, we will come out with a mineral resource estimate for the monazite area and a mineral resource estimate for the rutile area. So on your map, on this side of the map here, that will be a mineral resource for the residual rutile and the rutile area. And on the map there, on the top, where the Minta Est is, and on top of it, Minta S4, we'll come up with a mineral resource estimate for the monazite area. And that will be within the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay. Yep. And so, like, talking location, like hypothetically, if this becomes a monazite mine or a dual operation, a monazite and rutile mine, I've got you on the screen here where you are in Cameroon. Is there what's in the area? Who are your operating neighbours? Like, well, I guess what sort of pathways to produce rare earths and rutile do you have in Cameroon?
Look, we're the major exploration area there. There are people, I think Tusker or DY6 has got the tenements below us. But going forward is, we've talked about, it's one project, but I think we're going to have two wet concentrator plants, one for the rutile area, one for the monazite area. And the current thinking is with the mining sequence, it'll be very easy. And my view of life is you make it as simple as possible. No drill and blast, truck and shovel. You put it through a screen, you scrub it, you put it through a screen, you put it through spiral prong gravity separation, and in the beginning we'll produce a heavy mineral concentrate. The heavy mineral concentrate, so it'll be two wet concentrator plants. So it'll be a rutile heavy mineral concentrate and the monazite rich heavy mineral concentrate. And I think for the first 2 years, we might sell that as a product into the market as heavy mineral concentrate. The idea after that is to build one MSP mineral separation plant and to put both those streams from the wet concentrator plant into one MSP. And then you produce your rutile, your monazite concentrate, your zircon concentrate, and your ilmenite that you've got. With the only exception for us is because we've got these rutile nuggets and oversized rutile. So part of when you deslime it, you wash it, and then there's a screen that all the oversize goes to the stockpiles. We can't do that because there's a lot of rutile in our oversize. So we'll have an additional step in there to screen out the rutile, clean it, and I think we'll sell that as a product, a premium product, because it's 97.5% rutile. We'll sell that as a premium product to some of the, I think, titanium sponge producers. But again, my view of Africa is you keep it as simple as possible, truck and shovel, don't complicate the things.
The monazite, well, like in your July latest announcement regarding the commencement of the monazite drilling, it says indicative 0.5% to 1.2% in situ trio, so total rare earth oxides, in early free dig material. So is that like, I guess, where does that information come from? Is that the historical work, and that's sort of an indicative range of what we can expect these monazite grades to be?
Yep. Correct. You've had the ASX release up there. That was the ASX we did in 25 June of 2025. That was the grab and pan samples they used, analyzed it in the lab, an independent lab, and that was the quality of the monazite that we found from, I think it was 5 or 6 samples in total.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they didn't follow up with more drilling, more assays in the monazite areas. That's what we're doing now. That's what we found in the past with those 5 samples. Going forward, watch the space next week and the few following weeks. We're focusing on that. We're assaying for the full suite, ICP, XRD, XRF, monazite in situ numbers. We'll have, the next few weeks, we'll have those numbers. And the consistency of those numbers, not only 5 samples. It's going to be 600 samples, I think, almost per 2 weeks that'll come out.
And I guess Tronox is the thing to get onto. Like, as you said, that was a big draw card about why you've headed in country to Cameroon. So Tronox, they've secured a 5% interest in Line Rock. Correct me if I'm wrong. Got it on screen.
Correct. Yeah. 5%. I think for $8.6 million.
Yeah, and they paid, you're trading at about 2 cents. I think they paid about 5 cents. So they've paid overs for this. First up, who is Tronox? What do they do?
Oh, okay. Tronox is also one of the pigment producers, and they try to be 100% vertically integrated. So they've got mines, the pigment, through the whole value chain. They are, I think, some of the leaders in the pigment markets, and technically very strong. And I think they've announced to the market as well, they also want to commission a rare earth refinery in Australia, producing some of the rare earths. So my view of it is they're looking for supply to feed their rare earth refinery in the next 3 to 4 years. And I think that's why they took the strategic stake, because this is possibly a supply for their rare earth refinery, either in the US or in Australia.
So are they going to be sort of dual purpose? So they want the rutile for their pigment, but they're also, because the rutile's usually in and around monazites as well, they're going to develop a rare earth refinery as well to do both. Is that their strategy?
Look, and again, I don't know the Tronox life of mine plans, what ilmenite percentage they use, what rutile percentage they use. I know at Sierra Rutile, we did sell some rutile to them. I think once they know the quantity of the rutile we'll put into the market, I think they will reevaluate to say, where does the titanium units come from? And then the credits will be the monazites that they get with the HMC then.
Yeah, and from what, because and you mentioned it before, so they've got US and Australian export credit agencies, and they're looking up to US $600 million for a rare earth plant, and they've named Minta as a potential feedstock. So I guess what's their involvement at the moment? They've obviously got the shareholding, but is there a pretty constant dialogue with Tronox about the future of this project?
Look, we are in constant dialogue with Tronox. We have meetings with them. I had a few discussions with them. They are good supporters of us, but that's where it is currently.
Happy to go. As your Theuns always have a crack at asking something, so we can cut it there, mate.
Well, maybe one additional thing from the Tronox thing is that both Lion Rock and Tronox have openly expressed mutual willingness and desire to further deepen our relationship. So how that will play out, time will tell as well. But I think there is a mutual understanding that we're going to talk to each other again.
Yeah, very good. Other assets, mate. You've got the uranium man on board, Mr. Duncan Craib, as the non-exec chair, and you do have the Katonga and Logo uranium projects in the portfolio, also in Cameroon. Any attention being put towards those? Everyone knows the supply-demand side of the uranium world. Where are they sitting at the moment in the order of priority?
Yeah. Matt, so currently the focus when I started as well and currently is to focus on the rutile and monazite exploration. But as you said, we've got Duncan on board and we're lucky to have him because he's built two commissioned uranium plants in the past decade. So there is value to extract there as well from the uranium. We are starting to think about it, and as always, but we want to maximize shareholder value. So whether we keep it, we'll keep our options open, and at the right time, we'll have a discussion on what to do with the uranium.
Yeah, very good, mate. Balance sheet. So you guys obviously tip some money in as you come on board. So at 30 of June, you had about 6.8 million in cash. Where's the spend going forward in the coming quarters? Are we just talking purely monazite drilling is where the cash you've got at the moment is going to be heading?
Yep, correct. So the focus going forward after the rainy season is again on this monazite area here on the map.
Yeah.
And then we'll do some drilling. Remember, we've got the Boma Loam corridor here, and we want to connect it to Minta 1 there. So we want to do some drilling between Minta 1 and Loam to actually connect that rutile, to see if we can connect Boma Loam and the rutile, Minta 1 corridor. So that's the majority of the money will go into that.
Yeah. And you said sort of first half next year is when possibly a mineral resource estimate come out. Yeah. And is that just for the rutile? Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be committing to a monazite one just yet.
No, the plan is with the next 12 to 18 months, we want to thinking of two MREs, one for the rutile portion here again, and then one for the monazite area with the rutile and the zircon. Very good zircon in that area as well. So two MREs within the next 12 to 18 months.
And uses for zircon compared to rutile, titanium. Where's zircon head?
Zircon goes into the ceramics areas. If I read some of the announcements from the mineral sands producers and Tronox is where the rutile is sort of stable currently in terms of prices, they've had increases in the zircon prices. So if you produce a good zircon quality, I think currently it is doing better than the rutile.
Yeah. Mate, I guess everyone wants to know when you look at, I like to talk to the people running the show, not just listening to Twitter, because you look at it's had a pretty volatile graph, this one, and it's sort of been hovering around this sort of 1.62 cents. But you've obviously, come out of a possible retirement to take this job. What from your end do you think the market might be missing that's keeping a bit of a cap on the price at the moment?
Look, again, as I said previously, Matt, is the company discovered the monazite in the past, June, July last year. I think that's when the share price increased. They should have kept on going with the monazite story, kept on drilling the monazite story, and I think they were following the rutile. We've changed tack now and we're following the monazite, and I think the market is waiting for the monazite results to come out. And again, the past is the past. Don't want to comment on that. But going forward, it is about the monazite. It is about understanding the monazite, the light rare earths, the heavy rare earths, and how much do we have in situ of those in the holes in the Minta East area.
Yeah. No, mate, that has been a pretty bloody detailed overview. We could do another hour just going into the details of rutile grades and how the world of heavy mineral assemblage works, but we can save that for another episode, I reckon, Theuns. This has been a great intro to what you've got in Cameroon. So, mate, thank you very much for dialing in from bloody far away from Perth, mate. It's been great to have you on.
Thank you very much, Matt, and the opportunity and discussion. I quite enjoyed it.
Oh, very good, mate. We will get levered again. Don't worry about that. And just remember, you're De Bruyn's behind the operation.
I get that. Thanks for that.
No worries, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.